Hey interwebs, Angie here, and we are talking Love is Blind. If that's what you're into, pull up a seat and stay for a while. And if you like what you hear and you would like to hear more, then click the channel below and check out Faith Over Everything podcast that I host with my sister to hear more. But for right now, let's jump into these episodes. Okay, we are talking Love is Blind season 7. We are doing episodes 7 through 9. Okay, we are going to start off with episode 7 titled Truth Bombs. Okay, so this episode, we are starting off with Alex and Tim. Because of course the last episode we left, we were like, what happened? There's some kind of altercation between the two of them, but we really didn't know what was happening, and Tim was ready to leave. Okay, so this conversation starts off with Tim saying that he is willing to explore the relationship with Alex. Because he sees that she is trying to understand where he is coming from. So he's willing to kind of stay and see where it goes. Alex says the situation has put a hold on what they were building. So now they just need to figure out what is going to happen next. Okay, so we just kind of get a little bit of resolve to what we've seen at the last episode, but not really because we really don't even still know what happened. But at least Tim is willing to try to work it out. We next get an episode or a scene with Ashley and Tyler. Now, if you have been living under a rock, there's a lot that's been said about Tyler, but we'll get into that later. If you have been living under a rock, then I will explain it. But until then, let's just get to these episodes. Um, Tyler. But anyway, Ashley and Tyler are doing a camel riding activity. They're riding camels. Tyler asked, how does she feel about getting married in 3 weeks? And she said that she would marry him tomorrow. Okay. She acknowledges that there's more for them to learn about each other, but ultimately she's ready. And boy, is there more for them to learn. Anywho, you talk about holidays and how they would like to spend them. Tyler says that he stayed home last Christmas by himself and he cooked for himself. Ashley said she did the same. They bond over once they do have their own family, they can start making their own traditions. How they'll spend Christmas, watching Christmas movies, dressing up for holidays, doing theme parties, things like that. So okay. We didn't get a few more scenes of people's dates. So we get like Marissa and Ramses, they go on a yacht. Hannah and Nick are going bungee jumping, just little dates that they're doing. The next big scene we get is Monica and Steven. So Monica is talking to him about how she's big on actions matching your words. And in the pods, Steven said that he would buy her flowers. And he hasn't done that yet. So he was like, yeah, that was more of a concept, which I feel like I understood what he was saying, but not necessarily. Like, I thought that he was going to say, like, when I said I was going to give you flowers, it meant like I would give you your flowers, like I would always acknowledge you. But I don't know what he meant, because Steven talks in Steven language. I picked that up watching these episodes. So anyway, Monica speaks on how she loves showing love to people through giving gifts. That's gifts is one of her love languages, and so she's big on gifts. She loves to give gifts, loves to receive gifts, and when she gives gifts, she gives them with intention, things of that nature. Steven said that gifts is last on his list for him. His family wasn't really big on gifts, things like that. She states that she doesn't want their financial upbringings to put space between the two of them. And he was like, well, I haven't felt no space. Like, I think that we're fine. I know that I don't have to go out of my way and get you like a top quality bag, like, a Kate Spade or anything. And Monica was like, oh, don't ever give me a Kate Spade. Maybe YSL. And he was like, what's that? She was like, Louis Vuitton. And he's like, is that a name brand? Is that a big brand? So clearly we see either, I don't know if Steven was joking or if he was being serious. I mean, he could have been serious. He probably don't care about these name brand stuff, and that's fine. That's just who he is. Because listen, he said he gonna get you a Kate Spade bag, okay? A Kate Spade bag. I had to look it up. I'm like, the highest cost of that bag retailed at $598. Well, I mean, it's a couple hundred, but she talking about stuff that's in a couple thousands. Okay, so there is a big discrepancy. But anywho, Monica says she doesn't want to seem materialistic, but she does want to feel special. So, like, if you say you're going to do something for me, do it for me. He does admit that he dropped the ball. And then he starts to talk about how, marriage is a big decision and he doesn't want to feel forced into it. And, it's not fair to her. And then he started to say, if suddenly I'm having second thoughts, and Monica was like, wait a minute, what's going on? Because it was like they were in love. Now all of a sudden you're like, wait, if I start having second thoughts, and she's like, wait, so what's going on here? Like, what are we talking about? Are you having second thoughts? And he's like, no, oh no, I'm not having second thoughts. And she was like, you literally just said that. He's like, well, let me think of how I want to word this. How and so he's like, I'm not afraid to marry you. I'm genuinely in love with you. I'm just nervous because this is a huge commitment. Monica heard him, but she's still kind of confused because she thought that he would have thought, because the things that he's expressing in terms of nervousness and this is a big commitment, like I would have thought that you would have thought those things through in the pods when we were talking and before you proposed to me. So okay. Anywho, the next scene we get is Tim and Alex. They're like on an ATV type of vehicle and they're going across a bridge. And this bridge was like one of those bridges with like the little strings and the little wooden things it looked like. I mean, they were, I don't, you wouldn't catch me riding nothing across there. Like it's like a mountain and a mountain, and then you ride this thing across. Jesus, take the wheel, okay? Because Jesus had to have had the wheel because I would not have done that. Anyway, he is saying that he still loves her and he wants to put the past in the past and start new. And she's like, okay, so are you going to come back to the room? And he's like, yes, I'll come back to the room. So, okay, they're building, they're trying to work towards, being better. This next scene we get is a dinner party with just about everybody. Everyone starts to break off into their separate little groups to chat about what's been going on. I thought we were going to get some more Tim and Alex tea because Alex was telling the girls like, yeah, and then he got mad and he left the room, and I'm like, okay, but what had happened? But then we didn't really get that. She did kind of said, okay, he's coming back. We just kind of got the resolve, and then fireworks start. So they're all now fireworks. They're caught off guard. They're all like, "Oh, fireworks! Is that for us? Oh my goodness!" So they go out. Everybody's starting to head out to go look at the fireworks. Steven is having a conversation with Garrett, or Steven and Garrett are talking. So Monica walks up to Steven. She's like, look, there's fireworks. And he's like, okay, yeah, just give me a minute. I'll meet you. Steven and Garrett end up talking through the fireworks. So Monica comes in and she walks past him and she's like, goes up to Steven and she's telling him like, oh, thank you so much for the romance. Thank you, Steven, for the romance. Like, very much like passive aggressive. Like you're mad that he didn't come out, but to be fair, if Steven was still inside talking to Garrett, then Garrett was still inside too. So don't try to make it seem like Steven did something. To me, it was irritating because it's like you're getting mad at him for doing something that it wasn't a lone thing. Like, not to say that just because he did it with a partner means that it's okay, but if he was in conversation, I feel like that should have, gave you a little bit of understanding as to why he didn't come. It wasn't like he was just at the bar by himself. He was clearly in conversation with someone. So I think, and especially in these fireworks were unexpected. It wasn't a planned situation. So I think it was kind of crazy for her to get mad at him for not running out to see the fireworks with her when he was in conversation. But anyway, she sits down with the girls and she starts to say how she's mad at him. He comes to check on her and she's like, it's okay. And he leaves and she tells the girls how she gave him a hard time for not watching the fireworks with her and that, he's scared of her and he should be because, she's not messing around with him anymore. So then he comes over with like some sparkling water. He's like, I got some sparkling water. Do you like sparkling water? I don't like it, but do you like it? And she's like, no, but I'll take it. And so he sits down and he she brings up how, she and Taylor cuddled during the fireworks. And he's like, oh, well, I didn't want to cut Garrett off. He was speaking and I wanted to let him finish his thought. He then goes into, again, Steven talk, trying to explain like why he had to stay to listen to Garrett. It was just too much. Like, you could have just said, my friend was talking, I was listening, I wanted to be present. I'm sorry I missed it, but he needed me at that time. That's it. Like, he gets to talking about how because Garrett is a physicist, whatever, he had to explain his stuff the way he had to. I don't know. I didn't write it down, but I remember it, and it was stupid. Steven, it was stupid. You were doing too much talking. Anyway, he then starts talking about how basically because they're on this show, eventually they're going to have groupies and women are going to be in their DMs and trying to tempt them and offering to do sexual acts on these men. And it was like, wait, what are you? And it came out of nowhere. Out of nowhere. Like, he's talking to Monica and Taylor. Taylor's sitting there and he's telling them like, yeah, and because we're on this show, we're going to get fame, and we're going to, like, it was weird. It was very weird. Like, I be with you, Steven, when I'm with you, because Monica do be a little she be Monica-ing. Monica. She be Monica-ing. And you be taking it for the most part. But it's like, sir, what? But now you saying the stuff that don't make no sense. And sir, so yeah, so the dinner party pretty much wraps up after we hear him talking about how all of these women are going to come out the woodworks for these men that were on this show and want to tempt them. But he all in love with Monica. Whatever. Dinner is wrapped. We see all the couples in their room packing because the excursion is over. We're going to leave Mexico and we're getting ready to prepare to go back home to DC. So in this next scene, excuse me, the next scene starts up with Hannah and Nick. So I think they were they're back in DC, and I believe that they are like at the apartment that they're staying in, and they're talking, and Hannah tells Nick that she thinks that he is the type of guy who won't do anything unless she tells him to, like take out the trash and things of that nature. Nick was like, you don't have to tell him to take blah, blah, blah. I can't even talk. You don't have to tell me to take the trash out. Like, if the trash is full, I'll take it out. So he's like, you don't think I would do it? And she's like, well, I don't know. We haven't had to take the trash out yet. But I don't know. And then she goes on to say how she's younger than him, but she's more mature. He doesn't agree, but he's just like, okay. And he's like, well, if I'm less mature than you, how do you plan on, bringing me into your space or bringing me into your life? And she was like, we know what that is. That worries me. That does worry me. Because do you know how to mount a TV? He's like, no. He was like, but I know how to do dishes. I know how to do laundry. I can get groceries. Like, basically, he can do everything but mount a TV. So she's like, okay, she's very independent. And she knows that, like, I'm very much, it's my way or the highway. And, and that if she gets irritated, then just give her space for a while, is what they talk about. I do think it's a red flag when you're in a relationship and someone tells you that they are, my way or the highway type of people. I don't like that. Because while you're in a relationship is a two-way street. Let me just put that out there. Anywho, next up, we get back with Monica and Steven. She's listing things that they need for the house. And she's like, we need candles, we need flowers, we need garbage bags, we need dishes, we need flowers, we need soap, we need bedspreads, we need flowers. So she was like, every two things she's saying flowers, whatever. And so it's like, it's clear that him promising you those flowers in the pods were very important to you, and you really want to see these flowers. So I was like, hopefully he gets her flowers before the end of the episode, because I'm tired of hearing about it. Okay, just buy lay some flowers, ma'am. You can buy your own flowers, but I guess it don't hit the same. But ma'am, sir, get this woman some flowers. How many times she got to tell you now? You're doing too much. We get a couple more quick scenes. We get a scene with Garrett and Taylor talking about how they're looking at each other's social media. Garrett apparently doesn't have anything on his social media, but like spearfish. He likes to spearfish. So nothing on his social media but spearfishing and pictures of fish. Tim, we find out, doesn't like to cuddle because he gets too hot at night. So don't touch me. Don't cuddle on me. And Marissa wants to have an all-black wedding. with her, like everybody else is in all black, but her and Ramses will wear white. And Ramses is like, no, and no, thank you. Um, the next scene we get is with Garrett and Taylor. They are in Fredericksburg, Virginia, visiting Garrett's parents. Um, we find out that Taylor's parents are not going to be, well, it seems like they're not going to be a part of the show. At this point, she was saying how they don't want to be in the show. She said that, they may be worried about cameras coming to their house and things of that nature, but they do understand how important it is for her. But it sounds like she was saying they do want to meet Garrett, and it was sounding very much like it would be off camera that they would meet. Spoiler alert for this previews for the next time we did see, I believe her mom was on the show, so we do see her mom. So maybe it's just her dad. They speak to his parents about their time in the pods and the conversations that they had. His mom, she was very good. And then eventually she started to get a little emotional. And she's just like, I just don't want anybody to get hurt, especially her son. She doesn't want her son to get hurt. Everything is happening so fast. His sister points out that, like, we're meeting you today. And then the next time we'll see you will be in 2 weeks at the wedding. Like, that's really quick. And then they just talk about how they're making decisions about each other in a short amount of time. And, the family's just sharing their concerns. They weren't doing too much. They were doing it, I feel like, with compassion. It's kind of like, I understand what you guys did, but this is how we feel as a family, whatever. We're going to support you as much as we can, but we do have reservations is pretty much what it sounded like. But overall, I think it was a decent conversation. We next get Ramses and Marissa. He asked about the officiant for the wedding. Like, do we want a religious? Now, wait, before we even go there, I'm sorry, I didn't put it in my notes, but I'm remembering he made dinner. It must have been like some kind of ramen or some kind of noodles, and he gets points for making dinner, but them noodles was hard. Hoard, okay? Because he was like, she ate them and she was like, oh, these noodles basically they are not done. And he tasted them and they were not done, but he gets an A for effort. Anyway, officiant, religious, spiritual. And she's like, well, basically she wants a woman or anything but a man. She does not want a man to officiate their wedding. And she's like, well, I mean, spiritual. Yeah, someone who's spiritual, I guess. And then she said, yeah, for the wedding, God can take a backseat. Now, this channel is faith over everything. Okay, so I just want to go on record to say that for me, that was a wild comment. Like, whoa, Marissa. Like, I mean, I get everybody doesn't think the same. We don't believe the same things. But sometimes with certain people, like I understand people, everybody, we all come from different walks of life. And we find out, Marissa was raised Mormon. But it's like, what happened? Like, with certain things you want to know, like what happened that, like, or what did people do? Because to me, I think a lot of times people get hurt by people. And because of that, they try to punish God. And it's like, but God didn't do that. People did. And while God did create people, people are people. We all are innately going to sin or do bad things, whatever. We choose to do things that are right and just. And, I think that's just conversations we need to have. It's like, it's not always, you're well within your right to do whatever and feel however you want to feel. But a lot of times, especially when you come from like these religious backgrounds, I think it's important for people to look at the person and not God. Blame the person and not God. But anywho, we'll come back from that. After she says the comment, they share a laugh, and Ramses lets it be known because his mama is a Christian. He was like, "My mama will flip out right now," because she is still very Christian. And he was like, she probably gonna feel away if she comes to this wedding and she don't see no part of God up in it. I'm gonna let you know now. She probably gonna come pray with me before I walk down the aisle. Okay, and I love that you set that expectation. This who our mama is. This what she gonna do. Okay. So that's when we learned that Marissa used to be Mormon, and she admits that some of the nicest people she knows comes from the Mormon church. She just can't get with the man-centric ideology of religion. Ramses said, he also grew up in the church. There are parts that have always felt off to him, and that he probably still believes in some version of a Christian God. And when I heard that, y'all, again, let me just point out real fast, this is Faith Over Everything podcast, our Faith Over Everything channel. Okay. When I heard that, I thought of the Bible verse, Proverbs, where it says, raise up a child in the way that he should go, and when he is older, he will not depart from it. So if you are raised up in this Christian religion, there's always going to be a part of you that knows the truth. Even if you, for a time, are like, I don't know if it's true, I don't know if I believe this, and you kind of just go whatever, you'll find your way back. And I really feel like that's where Ramses is right now. I don't know, you know um that's what this scene gave me when he said he still believes in some version of a Christian God. I was like, that's because it's still instilled in you. But he's on his own journey, and I'm just going to pray that that journey is revealed to him. Anyway, he believes that if he dies and is standing before God, God won't judge him for having questions, legitimate questions. And I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with having questions, because I mean, as believers, there are some things that you're just like, maybe I don't understand this, and sometimes it's not for you to understand. But I will say, if there are questions that you have in those times where you are drowning or you feel like this doesn't make sense, then those are the times where you should be seeking God. Again, I'm gonna leave that alone. We're gonna move forward. Marissa said that the military brainwashes people, because again, remember, she is from the Navy. That the military brainwashes people, and she doesn't like what they do to other countries. But since she has served her time and she was in the military, she supports the military. Ramses does not agree. They have a conversation about how the military does bad things, and Marissa feels for the soldiers because they have to do things they don't want to do. And Ramses is like, but they signed up for this. Like, so basically, I'm not gonna feel bad for people that signed up to do this. You had a choice. You chose to join the military, and now they tell you what to do. And I get that, but I'm not gonna feel bad for the things that you have to do when you signed up for it. It's pretty much what he's giving. I believe he said his family's from Venezuela, and he's experienced some things. Marissa has been around the military her whole life, and although she seems to struggle with what the military does, she still supports it. And Ramses is fine with that. He's like, he's not going to hold her past against her as long as it's in her past. Because she does say at one point she thought about joining the reserves, but she didn't do it. And, so she's kind of in this scene. It very much was given a struggle for Marissa to be like, okay, well, I don't like what the military does, but I support them because I've been them. Like, and I get that. She's well within her right to feel that way. Ramses is well within his right to feel his way as well. I've seen what the military does. The American military, they do this, and I don't like how they do this to people. And so, this affected me this way. And so he's well within his right to feel that way. I'm just confused because why are we here? You guys have made it out the pods. Ramses, to be fair, you knew she was in the Navy when you proposed to her, or she had been in the Navy. She served in the Navy. So if that was an issue for you, I feel like you should have known. I mean, granted, we don't see all of their conversations that they have, but it was very much giving like, if you knew that she served in the military, you would think that, maybe she probably supports the military. So I don't know. I just felt like this was something they should have talked about in the pods. And her feelings on the military, his feelings on the military. I guess if she's really saying like she's not going to go back, maybe that's why he was able to kind of be with her. But I don't know. It was all weird to me. And that was the end of the 7th episode. We end with them, kind of having their disagreement about military. Episode 8 is called Dirty Laundry, and episode 8 starts off with Monica and Steven. Steven takes Monica to this workshop where there's like flowers, and they can make a little pressed flower stained glass thing. It was really cute. Steven said, I can't just give flowers. I can't just give her, a bouquet of flowers. I got to do better. I got to step my game up because she's been asking for these flowers every day of the week, and I need to make sure that I give her something. So he's like, these flowers that they'll do will last forever. These pressed flowers, they'll last forever. So it's not like I gave them to you and they died. So I thought that was a great gesture for him. We find out in the scene that Monica's dad doesn't want to be filmed, but he does plan to walk her down the aisle. So that was a nice little scene. The next scene we get is with Hannah and Nick. Nick takes her to his home. Now, Nick is 28, I believe. and he lives at home with his parents. Now, I will say, of course, I have seen people talk about Nick and how, like, oh, he lives at home with his parents. Now, I ain't gonna hold you. Okay, I have children, and I have my oldest son is 21. If that baby had a good job, or he does, he work. I'm talking about he's 21, so we're talking about at 28. If he's still working a good job and he has money, or he want to save his money, he don't have no kids, no wife, no nothing. I don't think there's anything wrong with him staying at home and saving his money because the rent out here is high. Okay, if the baby want to come home, he can come home. All right, so I feel like people was judging Nick because he still live at home with his parents, and I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I do think that if you're going to live at home with your parents should be teaching you responsibility. So I will say that. I do think that what we learned later in the episode is that Nick probably did need some more structure. Like, you're not just going to live here and stay in the basement and not pay no rent or not pay anything. Like, no, you're going to take care of some bills while you're staying here. But I'm going to go on record to say that I don't think there's anything wrong with a single man living at home with his parents, if you want to. Those are my thoughts. So they talk about how they'll probably move into Hannah's place after marriage. But yeah, they visit his parents' home. Nothing too spectacular. Like I said, he stays in the basement. His childhood room is upstairs. So it was funny because she was like, so have you ever lived on your own, or was it like you lived upstairs? He did his little football thing. He came back home and then you moved downstairs. And he was like, yeah. So really, he has never lived on his own. It's been with his parents, like his little football career, and then back with his parents. So that's that. The next scene we get is with Ramses and Marissa. We are meeting her friends. She had already previously told us that most of her friends were probably like military. So they tell the friends, like, everything is going great. The only challenge that they have so far is their military differences. She tells them that if she was currently in the military, that he wouldn't date her. And they were like, is that true? And he was like, yes. They were like, so if she wanted to go back, to the military, would that be a problem? Like, that would, and he was like, yes, that would cause a problem. And one of the friends were like, you were divorced? And he was like, yeah, probably divorce. And he goes on and said, like, it goes against his morality and his ethics. And that's what he mentioned, that, he's from Venezuela and he just has a different view of the US military. And I put in my notes, they shouldn't be together. Like, that's just, I don't think they should be together, because with the way that her friends were questioning him, it was like, so if she goes back, they are very much military, they support the military, and that's fine. But it's like, I felt like in the scene, Marissa, like the way her friends weren't talking to him in a bad way. Let me clarify that. But like, they just were definitely pro-military. And I felt like she, in a way, was trying to use her friends to kind of like convert him into their type of thinking. And it's not going to work. Like, ma'am, if you are thinking about going back into the reserves, which is great, thank you for your service. I definitely thank people who have served in the military. And I appreciate them. If that's what you want to do, then understand that if you want to do that, it just doesn't come with him. Like, which one is more important? Understand that you guys have different viewpoints, and that's not going to change. Anywho, the next scene we get is with Tim and Alex. They are preparing for her people to come over. It sounds like, or not sounds like, her dad didn't know that she was engaged. So like her mom and her brothers pretty much knew, but like her dad didn't know. So she wants Tim to speak to her dad and, ask for her hand in marriage, as if he didn't already do it, but whatever. The family comes over. Tim meets everybody. He made a good impression with everybody. Okay, that man Tim know how to make a good impression, because he did that. Okay, he had things in common with her daddy. He likes to play golf. Her daddy was a golf person. Tim was born in England. Her daddy was born in England. I was like, wait, what? I think he was like, his dad was in the Air Force. Maybe Tim's dad was in the Air Force. That's why they were both born in England, because their dads were over there serving, something of that nature. So like, he has a lot in common with her dad. Her dad does have MS, and so he was like in the wheelchair. So she was telling him like, my dad's not gonna really be able to get up, so you're gonna have to, tell us all to leave so you can talk to him alone. So he does that. He asked to speak to him alone. Remember in the pods when he proposed to her, he did read a letter to her father asking to marry her. So he read that letter to the dad asking for his daughter's hand in marriage, and the daddy says yes. And I'll tell you, it was a really sweet moment because you could tell that like the dad seemed to really be impressed with Tim, and Tim, the mom was impressed with him. The brothers liked him. Like it seemed really nice. We shall see. Okay. Cause I'm not putting my bet on anybody no more. Okay. Cause y'all know who my favorite couple was. And now I'm out. I'm checked out. I'm not rooting for, I'm rooting for everybody, but rooting for nobody at the same time because who knows what's going to happen. All right. So the next scene we get is Taylor and Garrett. Garrett wants to live in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and Taylor wants to live in San Diego. Um, in this scene, they're talking about how he was open to it in the pods, but now it kind of seems like he's reneging because he's like, I want to be close to my family. Like, I can't imagine, having a family and having my children and them not being able to go see their grandparents. And I mean, I don't know. He seemed at the end of the conversation, he came back around to like, of course, he would move to San Diego, but I don't know. I feel there's hesitation there, which is understandable. Because I mean, do you really know her? You don't really know her, but at the same time, maybe you want to get to know her, so you want to give it a chance. So I don't know, but that seems to be like really their only issue is figuring out like, would he relocate to San Diego? We get Monica and Steven. So when they come back, we learned that when he came back from his trip, it sounded like he said he kind of suspected that he might have been let go from his job, but he wasn't sure. Like he hadn't got confirmation. So he went to work and then he saw like his supervisor and he's like, "Hey, do I still work here?" And the guy was like, "No. No, you don't. I thought somebody told you, like, no, you don't work here no more." So Steven lost his job. Accord, like, because of this. And so they talk about it briefly, and in the moment it's like, okay, they both seem to be handling it very well. He tells her that he is okay with her treating him like a piece of meat. She lets him know that when he shared his concerns about getting married, it made her withdraw sexually. So apparently since that conversation that they had in Mexico, when he started talking about second thoughts and things, they have not been intimate since then. He said that as a man, he just ready to go all the time, and that women are complicated and that you just have to be able to crack the code. Basically like, and she was like, well, all you got to do is just make me feel safe, whatever, which I can agree with. Like most women, we just want to know that we can trust you and that we can feel safe with you. And if we have that, then you got me, baby. Like, that's how my husband got me. Like, it made me feel safe. Made me feel like you will be there to support me, whatever. But if I feel like, if you're questioning what we have, that's not, no, sir, that's not it. But yeah, so right now they're just trying to work through some stuff. The next scene we get is Hannah and Nick. He comes home from work and she is cleaning. So he goes to change because he has to meet with, two more people via Zoom. So he takes off kind of like he had like a white shirt and some slacks, maybe something like that. And then he wouldn't put on like a black shirt and some slacks button down because he had to go meet with these people and need to look good. So she asked him to take out the trash. He does so. And then they sit down and she starts talking about how she appreciates it when she asked him to take the trash out and he does it. When she asked him to get the clothes out the dryer and he does it, but she wants him to start doing these things on his own. And he's like, I do take the trash out on my own. She's like, yeah, but I had to ask you to do it today and yesterday. And in my notes, I have, ma'am, he just got home. No shade. I'm not trying to shade Hannah at all. He'd been at work all day. That man came home from work, went to go change his clothes, and when he came out the room, you asked him to take the garbage out. To be fair, you didn't even give him time to come in the house, realize the garbage was full to take it out. And even if you did tell him yesterday, you're telling us that you told him yesterday. Yesterday and today does not make a habit. Like, just because he didn't do it yesterday and today, that does not make it a habit. It sounds like the days before that he did it without you telling him, is what it sounds like. Y'all, I was rooting for Hannah in the beginning because remember she ain't had no job, but Hannah been getting on my nerves. Just gonna keep it a buck. She's been getting on my nerves. And at this point, ma'am, I don't like how you talk to him. I don't like how she talked to him. I don't like how she be acting. So whatever. He may be a man child, but I still don't like it. I don't like it. So, cause I'm like, he just came from work. Like, my husband, if he came home from work and I just started putting him to work, now mind you, Nick, he being real nice. Cause around here in this house, oh, he would have been like, "Who? I just got home. Leave me alone." And I would have to been like, "Okay." Anywho, let me move on. Um, she then says that she wants tasks designated to him and then tasks for her. He was like, okay, I'm open to it. She's like, okay, you'll be responsible for the trash. um Laundry. When you do your laundry, do my laundry. Luna, she my dog, but we gonna be married, so my responsibilities are your responsibilities and yours are mine. And then she goes over how, she sweeps daily, she vacuums daily, she does weekly deep cleaning. If I'm going to the grocery store, if you're going to the grocery store, ask me what I want. If I'm going to the grocery store, grocery shopping is like $300. I feel like we should be able to split that. $300 for the week. I'm sorry. She said if we go grocery shopping and grocery shopping is $300 for the week, we should be able to split that. And I said, who eating $300 a week? Before I even said that, Nick said, I don't think we will spend that much on groceries in a week. And she said, yes, because groceries are expensive. And I said, now, Hannah, I'm with you when I'm with you. Groceries are expensive. However, you're telling him that you spent $300 because she was like, yes, it does get that much. I spent that much as on my own. And I ain't trying to be funny, but Hannah told us that her mama used to lock up snacks. So maybe it said good job. It agreed with me. I remember that. Maybe that's why. Hannah, listen, girl, $300 for one person is excessive. Now I'll give you a pass because maybe you buy steaks and lobsters and stuff. Like maybe you are you know, expensive girly. But I have a family. It's a family of 4 in my household. Okay. And $300 a week is a lot of money. We don't spend 300 for a week, maybe 2 weeks. And that's a family of 4. But I guess you do have the luxury of it just being you and you can buy all the expensive food, but that's crazy. They did go into finances and I'm not gonna lie, at first the way she was talking at Nick in this scene, I didn't like it. But then when we find out that Nick really is like financially illiterate, because she said like you're financially illiterate, and she was just going in at him. And I was like, Hannah, not too much on Nick now. Not too much. But then as the scene played out, I was like, oh, okay, I get it. Because Nick has lived at home with his parents again. His parents pay everything. The only thing he pays for is his car note. His parents pay his car insurance. They pay his phone bill. They pay everything. Clearly, they probably was buying his groceries. The only thing he paid for was his car note. So she was like, "Yep." So I'll be in charge of the finances. And I mean, I agree because she's responsible. She knows how to pay some bills, so it makes sense that she will be with the finances. The next thing we get is Ashley and Tyler. We are meeting Ashley's dad. They have a good sit down. Dad asks questions about how prepared Tyler is to be, a husband and have a family. And Tyler states that he's ready. He said he's more than ready. Are you now? And then he asks, for his blessing, and dad gives him his blessing. And I said, well, alrighty then. And then the next scene, we get Monica, and the next scene initially starts off with Monica and Taylor. And we see Monica with Taylor, and she's saying like, oh, she's just so shocked and she can't believe it. And we're like, what's going on? What she can't believe? So Taylor is like hugging her and telling her that she's sorry. And she's like, the conversation we had at the dinner party. Remember when I told y'all Stephen was talking about the whole women gonna be groupies and in their DMs and things like that? And she was like, yeah, the conversation about women being in their DMs and, trying to do, sexual acts on them. She just gets emotional and she's hugging Monica and she's like, you don't deserve this. Like, you really don't, you're a good person. You don't deserve this. And I ain't gonna hold you. This is a conversation that sounds like you would have with your girlfriend when, like, your dude ain't home. Taylor is saying all of this and the camera spans over and Steven is in the kitchen walking around. And I said, wait, what's going on? Like, so he's present. Taylor leaves. Okay, girl, well, I'm just going to go. You give me a call. You do know that I'm here for you if you need me. I'm like, okay. So Steven comes and sits down. And the gist of it is apparently he's been texting some woman in a sexual manner the night before in the present day. He's supposed to be at a sleep study the night before. Monica was like, well, was you really at a sleep study? Where was you at? Because at this point, I don't believe you. He like, yeah, I was at the sleep study and I'm guilty because, I got drunk and I was texting some woman at a sleep study. And she was like, you wasn't texting her yesterday. You were texting her today. And he was like, no, I didn't say anything to her today. No, she was like, give me your phone. He said, I deleted the messages because, I just couldn't stand to look at them anymore. But I don't remember texting her today. Now, Steven, I was trying to be with you when I was with you. Okay. But now at this point, I don't like how Steven got caught clearly in something. And immediately he's like, oh, sorry, I didn't. Oh, I did. I'm sorry. No, you're not sorry, because if you were sorry, you wouldn't have did it. You're also the one who told us that your last relationship, you cheated in the DMs and you didn't cheat physically. You were cheating emotionally and you were DMing with intention. So this seems to be a pattern with you, sir. But Monica says she ain't got time for it. Okay. He's apologizing. Like, I take full responsibility. I'll pack my stuff and I'll leave you alone and I will get out of your way. Okay. You don't got to worry about me ever again. You ain't got to worry about me. I'm gonna get out your life. I should have never came into it. I'm okay. So she was like, okay, yeah, but hold on. Before you do that, Venmo me the money you owe me from carrying your weight the last few days. I said, whoa, not even whoa. Like, listen, Monica, okay, you been getting on my nerves, but I'm with you when I'm with you, okay? Because that baby said, what you not gonna do? You did already played in my face, okay? I saw the messages. You was messaging her today. You want to tell me you wasn't, and you want to try to play this game. Like, oh, I deleted it because I just couldn't stand to look at it. But you the one that was sending her the messages. I need my money. Because what we're not about to do is be tied to each other longer than we need to be. Okay. So get up out of here. Thank you for taking responsibility and leaving and getting out my life. But before you walk out my life, run me back that money you owe me. Okay. Because I was holding you down these last few days. But guess what I'm not doing? We not together no more. We not. Run me my money. She's like, she's almost embarrassed from loving him, seeing as he could be engaged to her and be planning to cheat on her. He was like, well, I can't change it and I'll live with this forever. Pointing to the cameras, like, I'm going to have to live with this forever. Like, and then he said he's sorry again for wasting her time. He should have never came on the show. And then that hurt her feelings because she's like, well, why would you say that? That's selfish, because of course her experience also matters. And now you're saying you should have never came, but you are a part of my experience. Whatever. He gets up, says he's sorry, and he leaves. And then Taylor and Garrett come back to console her. And that is the end of episode 8. And that is also the end of Monica. Oh, Monica. I won't be able to sing my song no more because they gone. Monica, oh, Monica. All right, so then we go into episode 9, you guys, and this episode is called "Is Love Enough?" Okay, we well, before we even get to Hannah and Nick, we had a quick scene with Ashley and Tyler where they were talking about having kids and how many kids they want to have, and I was like, Tyler, Anyway, we'll get to him later. Let's go to Hannah and Nick. They're trying to cook together. Now I remember when they were first talking, and she was telling him, like, when we get home, I can you mount a TV? Can you do whatever? And he said, no, I can, but I can cook. I can get groceries. I can do what. Nikki D, little man child. Um, he don't even know how to boil water, y'all, for the pasta. She's like, just boil some water for the. He's like, how much do I put in? It was a whole pot, a half a pot. Like how much? Nick, I thought you said you knew how to cook. Anyway, Hannah's brother is coming over. He comes over, they kind of share little laughs and things here and there. At some point, Hannah made a joke about how she's domesticated now because, she's unemployed and she's at home and she cooks dinner. And so, she's like, oh, probably because I'm unemployed. Ha, ha, ha. They laugh. And I want to say Nick said something along the lines of like, well, I mean, basically like, you don't have to be, you can go. I'm pretty sure if you went out there and got a job, you could get one. Or if you apply, if I'm remembering the scene correctly, like it didn't seem like it was a joke. It seemed like he was just saying like, well, I mean, you can go apply for a job. I'm sure you'll get one, or even if it was a joke, you just made a joke about you being unemployed. So she had like an attitude. It was like, yes, I said, Nick said you can get a job if you want it. And she said that he was being mean. Then she leaves to go do whatever, and he's talking to her brother, and they bond over how Hannah can dish it, but she can't take it, basically. And it's like, I don't like people like that. And that's why Hannah is going down my list, okay? Because don't joke with me. If I joke with you the same way, you're gonna have a problem, you're gonna cry, you're gonna have attitude. Don't do that. Just don't joke at all. Keep it to yourself. The next scene we get is with Taylor and Garrett. Garrett's parents are not on board with them going to San Diego. His mom is like emailing him about like, how she knows that him and Taylor have these plans and everything, but she's just not comfortable. They talk again about her dad not wanting to be on camera. They think about what would happen if they don't have the blessings of their families and what they would do. So they don't necessarily I think they kind of both said that they would want to still move forward, but how their family's blessings are important to them. We are now 15 days to the wedding. And in this next scene, we get Marissa and Ramses. Now, in this scene, we are meeting Marissa's family. So it's like her mom and her siblings. Her mom's name is Vanessa. Let me tell y'all, Miss Vanessa is a piece of work. Okay. Vanessa said, because they were talking about how they were in the pods and, they didn't know each other looked like. They didn't share. Only thing she kind of knew was like his fashion sense. And her mama was like, yeah, I'm not a fan. He's like, you don't like my fashion? She's like, no, I don't. That whole 80s breakdown, the break dance, the whole 80s break dance look with the curl and the little tails, it's not doing it for me. It's not doing it for me. And I was like, I mean, I can get that because it don't do it for me either. But guess who would do it for? Marissa. That's all that matters. Anyway, talk about Marissa's upbringing, how they didn't have much money. Her mother was a single mom taking care of all of her kids, and she was going to nursing school. She says that Marissa. Now, this scene, I felt like Marissa has not talked to her mother or let her mother know her real aspirations of like, or maybe she's lying to Ramses. I don't know, because I remember in the pods, she said that she wanted basically a stay-at-home dad, because I joked about how it sounded like she needed a nanny because clearly she's going to be at work. But her mom is like, she wants to make sure that Ramses had a good job because Marissa wants to take care of her baby when she has kids and stay home. So what is your plan for furthering your career? And Marissa didn't say anything. I mean, because maybe she would like to know, like, what's your plans for furthering your career? But I would have been like, well, mama, I ain't really trying to do the whole stay at home mom thing, whatever. But I mean, I am with you when I'm with you. So what's your plan, baby? So he goes on that he tells us, or we learned that he didn't finish college. When he was around 20, his dad had passed away. And so, he couldn't really focus on school at that time. And his mom was like, her mom was basically like, she gets that. She's not harping on somebody finishing college and everything, just making sure that you got a good career. She said she just wants to make sure that he has a plan and that he's financially stable, because she's not trying to come keep that baby while her daughter all being a lawyer. She said, listen, I'm not going to be that nana that's at the house taking care of the baby. That ain't my baby. That's your baby. And if you don't have a good job, then that means I'm going to have to come take care of that baby. And if I got to come take care of that baby, then you're going to have to deal with me. She ain't say that, but it was implied, because what you don't want to do is deal with Vanessa, because I know I don't. Anyway, Marissa was like, and she doesn't want to come stay with me because she thinks I'm evil. Vanessa says she is a B word and she's bossy. And Marissa and Ramses agree, and say, that they agree that Marissa can be bossy. And she says that, they've talked about it. Marissa goes to the bathroom and her mom talks to Ramses, and she's like, she doesn't believe that marriage is forever. She was married before. People stay together and they just tolerate each other until it's over. And so she's like, she would like him and Marissa to do a prenup. And she said that, Marissa's worked too hard and has suffered from men messing over her whole life, starting with her father and then her stepfather. And she'd be dang if it happens with her husband. And I wrote this in my notes because I feel like, granted, if they want to do a prenup, if Marissa and Ramses want to do a prenup, they can do that. But if Vanessa wants Ramses to do a prenup because of the man that Vanessa has chosen, because you didn't say that because of the man Marissa has dealt with in her life, you said her father, and her father came into her life by who? You. Her stepfather came into her life by who? You. It sounds like you didn't make good choices with men. And I get that you don't want your daughter to do the same thing. Nothing wrong with that. However, I feel like you're almost putting your situation on her, and it's like, no, ma'am. I get that you can be jaded that way, but it just rubbed me the wrong way when she was like, these men have done her wrong. And all the men that did her wrong that you mentioned were men that you brought into her life. She goes on to say that if he loves her like he says he would, like he says he does, then he should have no issues doing a prenup. And he was like, I'm all right doing a prenup. I don't mind. She comes back to the table and she tells him, like, or they mentioned the whole prenup, and Marissa was like, I'm not doing no prenup. Mind you, at this time, Marissa ain't got no money. Ramses ain't got no money. Her mama's thinking future. When she become a lawyer and she get all this money, you not about to take my baby money. But whatever. But Marissa like, girl, I ain't think about no prenup. Vanessa told him that if he hurts her daughter, she will cut off his balls. All right. So now we are 14 days from the wedding, and we get Hannah and Nick. Okay, we are meeting her parents. Hannah's parents seemed really, really nice. Really, really nice. I was like, oh, because Hannah is such a bossy boss. Anyway, Hannah's parents, because she was like, are you guys gonna grill him? Come on, you guys gonna grill him? They're like, we're not gonna grill him. We just want to get to know him. And we're sure that you didn't grill him enough. And I said, and has. And did. Yes, she has. They talk about how she talks about how she knows that she is overcritical of him. Like, I'm overcritical of Nick. And her mom was like, chill. I think Nick might have left to go to the car. And she's like, yeah. Her mom was like, girl, chill out. Like, you doing too much. They're telling her, like, girl, don't nitpick over stupid stuff. At the same time, don't overlook stuff, but don't be nitpicking. Don't be looking for stuff to have an issue with. Let the small stuff go. And from the little bit that they got from Nick, they like Nick. The next thing we get is Alex and Tim. Now, earlier in the episode, we went to Tim's house. And his house was pretty, standard, nice, in good order, decency and in order. You could tell that if Tim has already said he's pretty much of a clean, neat person, but even if he wasn't, we would have never known, because most people are at least going to go back to their house or have somebody go to their house and make it TV presentable. But most people are not Alex. Okay. And I'm not trying to judge Alex, but when I tell you, it appears Alex is a hoarder. Okay, because there are clothes everywhere. We go to her room, there's clothes on her bed, clothes on the floor, clothes in the closet. And I don't mean like just clothes, it's heaps of clothes. There are trash bags in the living room full of clothes. And she's like, yeah, so these ones I am donating. These bags, I'm selling these clothes, and then these right here, I'm keeping these. And it's like, girl, like I don't. It was a lot. It wasn't. It was just clutter everywhere, and I was like, Alex, why you ain't have nobody come or like put all the clothes in the closet and close the closet door, and y'all just don't go in the closet. But you know what? Everybody ain't everybody. Everybody's different. So it is what it is. Okay, we're going to move on. We're going to go to Taylor and Garrett. Okay, we are visiting Taylor's friends. They talk about moving to San Diego. Garrett is saying that he's okay and he loves her so much that he will do it. But I don't know. I just feel like he's still is a little nervous about it. Not saying that he's not going to do it, but I don't think he's as on board as he's saying he's on board. I feel like he's just, he's saying it until he believes it. The next scene we get is with Marissa and Ramses. She asked, what you thought of my mom? And he was like, or before he could even say anything, she was like, my mom needs therapy. And I put in my notes, yes, her mother was definitely intense. Marissa said that her siblings really enjoyed him. And then she's like, do you think it's going to be like that with your mom? I don't know if she meant like intense or what. And he was just like, yeah, no, it's not. It's not going to be like that. They talk about timeline for kids. He says 4 years. She says she's thinking more like 2. She was like, she's 32 and she doesn't want to be like 37 having a baby. And I do not recommend. Okay, I agree with you, Marissa. Having a baby at 37, 0 out of 5 stars. I do not recommend. Okay. I had all of my children when I was in my 30s. Not all, like I had a whole lot. I have 2 children and 1 bonus son. So my bonus son, 21. My children are 3 and 8. And yeah, I was 31 and 37 when I had my children, and I do not recommend. I got a bum knee. My body just broke down after that. I got a bum knee, my hernia. I just listen, but that's just me and my story. Me, I do not recommend. But whatever works for you is for you. So anyway, she's like, so this is the thing that I want to point out that I feel like people are missing, that I've seen people that have commented on this, is that people seem to be coming for Ramses. Like Ramses told her to get on birth control and he did not. Okay. I have in my notes, she brought up that she will need to talk to her doctor about birth control. And then they talk about it for a little bit. And then she goes back and says, well, I really don't want to get back on it, which I understand. Because when I got off of birth control from after my first kid, I was on it for a couple years. And I was like, I just want a break. I don't want to do it anymore. And then I stopped it. And then after a while, I got pregnant again. And it was fine. And so, I mean, you do have to, you do want to break sometimes because you're putting something that's not natural in your body. Well, something that's messing up your natural flow of your body. I understand that. But to be fair, she brought it up. And then she said, well, I really don't want to go back on it. And then he told her, well, I don't want you to do anything that will affect you. And then, if it's gonna mess you up, I don't want you to do anything that you don't want to do. So then she talks about condoms. Oh, how do you feel about condoms? And he's like, I'm not really feeling that. Whatever. So she's like, okay, condom or no condom, we'll be fine. We just got to understand that if we'll have to accept the consequences. If we have a baby, we have a baby. I'm okay with getting pregnant. Whatever. And then he's like, well, basically he was saying how, wearing a condom is not enjoyable for him. And she's like, well, I mean, basically it's something like we're going to have to get condoms because I'm not getting back on birth control. So she stands firm on that. And that's pretty much was it. We get Hannah and Nick. We are meeting his parents. Nick talks to his dad about how he thinks Hannah will push him, make him a better man. Hannah talks to his mom about how she has been on her own since she was 18 and has taken care of herself, whereas Nick hasn't had to do that. But she's still working with him. That's where his mom admitted that, like, she has pampered her children. My children probably have been pampered. But overall, the parents really like her. And they have a good little connection. And so again, like I said, I don't think there's anything wrong with what Nick had did in terms of staying at home with his parents, but it's clear that his parents did not set the expectation of what it would be like to be on his own. Now we get to the final scene of the episode. We are 13 days to the wedding, and we are with my former faves, Ashley and Tyler. Tyler, they are talking, and in this conversation, again, if you have been living under a rock, we find out in this conversation that Tyler has told Ashley that he has 3 children. And he's telling her that he helped a couple that he knew have babies. So essentially, he's just a sperm donor. He's telling her that he really wants this and that he will keep fighting for their relationship. And Ashley's like, they were happy, like we were happy, like, but now I feel like our superpower, it just isn't enough. Like our superpower, it's not there anymore. Because I believe she's saying their superpower was communication. Like we communicated well, we talked to each other. Like as many times we talked about kids, you never told me this. Like why wouldn't you bring this up? Even if it was a donor situation, why wouldn't you let me know that there's kids out here? And she's like, it's a boy. He's like, yeah, a boy and 2 girls. She was like, we was happy, but pretty much the last line is she's saying she doesn't know if love is enough. Which is it's heartbreaking because it's like they were doing so great. So great. Now let me fill you in if you've been under a rock really fast. Basically, just like how we heard in the episode, Tyler is saying that he helped a couple have babies because, they couldn't have babies. So if you go over to the TikTok streets, there is this TikToker named Storytime with Ricky. She has all the tea, all the receipts. She has receipts and everything. She's getting information from people. So we find out that at one point he was engaged, and at the time that he was engaged, the fiance went to the gender reveal for the first baby and everything, because the first baby was a lesbian couple. They were having a baby. One of the ladies was pregnant. So, and it's one of Tyler's friends. So, okay, we go to the gender reveal. It's a little boy, blah, 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 blah. And then I don't know if he told her, but at some point after the gender reveal, probably after the baby, we don't get that point, but at some point she finds out that, oh, this baby that we were celebrating is my fiance's baby. He was the donor. He gave, and he never told her that. She didn't know that. So on the flip side, we get the wife. So there's the pregnant wife, and then there's the wife. So the wife that did not have the baby, she's telling the story in terms, well, we hear from her that, he was their donor. When the baby was born, both the women signed the birth certificate. They are the parents on the birth certificate. And then it seems like they went through a breakup. Something must have happened. They were going through separation. She was always under the belief that Tyler was going to be Uncle Tyler, but through the separation, she would see things online where like Tyler is like always around and he's with the baby. And, and then at some point they ended up in court, and in court, Tyler came and basically was like, I'm a active father. I'm with my baby every day. And she essentially lost custody of the baby. Now, again, I don't know 100% truth on that because, people go through divorces and custody battles and stuff. When they tell their stories, things may not always be the truth, but that's what the internet streets have so far. Okay, is that he came and he said, this is my baby, I'm the daddy, and she lost the rights to the baby. With that being said, she wasn't with the wife, allegedly. And before the first baby, the little boy, before he was born, the mama was pregnant again with twins. So I don't know. So they are suspecting, the internet streets are suspecting that him and this woman, they was together, because the ex-wife is saying even when she was in the picture, she would tell her wife and she would tell Tyler like, something going on with y'all. Like, I feel like it's more than a friendship. And they were like, no, we're just friends. We're just friends. But yes, I don't know. There's a lot more to it. Like I said, if you on the TikTok streets, go look at Storytime with Ricky. That's just what we heard. Okay. I will say they did have pictures from, like, I don't think it was last year, a while ago, where like Tyler was taking pictures at Christmas. They had matching pajamas, him, the baby mama, and the little boy. And then I did see recently that the mom came forward and basically she was on some like, my kids were not donors. Like, you are like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but I no longer have favorites. I no longer will be too invested with these people because I'm just gonna wait till everything gets said and done. But all right, y'all, that was episodes 7 through 9. Thank you so much for joining me. Let me know below what you are thinking. It's just a mess. Okay. Do y'all think anybody's gonna make it? Is anybody gonna make it? Because at this point, I have no idea. I don't know. But that's it, y'all. You guys have a great day. I hope to see you again in the next episodes. And if not, check out Faith Over Everything podcast. Okay. All right. Like the video, subscribe, share. Bye.